Alrighty, welcome back. So today I want to talk to you about the echo chamber of narcissism and what that is, and kind of key you into how it's a trap that it's easy to fall into, and ultimately it results in the narcissist winning. And so what I mean by the echo chamber of narcissism is that it's as you're waking up to this whole experience and you're learning and you're sharing and you're realizing, it's extremely energizing, and there's a lot of emotions, and with those emotions is a lot of strong energy. And what ends up happening is that creates this kind of like vortex that you get swept into, and it's so energizing and enthralling that your focus goes to that, and yet you're making progress and you're waking up and you're sharing and you're learning. But then what ends up happening is you just get swept into that topic of narcissism, and you never reach the point of like, okay, there's life after all of this. There's this huge, vast life waiting for you right over this hurdle. And I think it's important to acknowledge how you can just spend a lifetime dwelling on the past and dwelling on your past experiences. And so I think it's important to acknowledge it, and then also, sprinkle in more into the topic of narcissism, of life after narcissistic abuse. What does that look like? Like, can you imagine your life after narcissistic abuse? And I think that's a big thing that needs to be shared and encouraged with everyone. Because it's easy to just like roundabout talk about this and really not make any significant changes. And I'm not saying that you have to stop sharing, stop learning, stop waking up, because everyone's on their own journey and they're going to get there at their own time. But it's important to really convey and communicate life, a happy, healthy, productive life after all of this. Because it boils down to two choices. It's like, you can either let the traumatic abuse experiences in your life, you can either live by those experiences, where those experiences dictate who you are as a person, they dictate and control the choices you make, and they really dictate your life's direction. And that's a choice that people make every day. And a lot of people unknowingly. I did that for a long time. All the choices in my life were dictated by, I was living by my traumatic emotional experiences. Or you can make the choice of living with it. And that's simply accepting it, learning from it, putting that thing on your back and going down the road. Because it's never going to be completely gone. You can't just erase what has happened. It's always going to be a part of your life, and it's always going to creep up. And especially with these narcissists, you'll never stop engaging with narcissists. They're everywhere. It's inevitable. There's a huge percentage of the population cranking these things out, and the narcissist factory is just like chugging away. And I'm sure they're super in debt trying to keep manufacturing going. But anyway, if you can just come to the point where you've accepted it, you learn from it, you have this unique perspective and ideas, and then you're like, okay, I'm done with that, and I'm rebuilding my life. Because all these traumatic experiences, especially if you're a child and you didn't get the opportunity to have a foundation to actually build a real, healthy, productive, beautiful life on, you're done. You can't build a house without a solid foundation. It just collapses. It'll just collapse every time. So that's the point that I really want to make, is that there's this huge opportunity right in front of you to just accept all of this and begin to move on and begin to rebuild. And so I want to incorporate what I've done into the channel. And obviously, feel free to share. We can keep sharing about, all of our stories, because, like I said, everyone is on their own journey. This is purely your program, and wherever you're at, if you're just waking up, or if you've cut someone off and it's been 30 years, and you're to that point, the next chapter is right there, and it's important to acknowledge it and to begin to teach and share how we're doing that, how we're building this life now after all these experiences. Because if we're just stuck in always talking about it and not realizing that, you can let it go and move on, the narcissist wins. And it's kind of interesting, like, there's been comments that show up on some of the videos where I'm just in this victim mode. And that's this whole kind of subset of the topic of narcissism, where people just constantly are just like, from the perspective, they're just I'm the victim. And I understand how you could have that perspective and see that. But I really want to make it clear that you can move on and you can begin to build. And that's been a huge part of me moving past what I've experienced and imagining and creating a better life. And I've been able to do it. I've done it my own way, and you'll do it your own way. But I feel like there's common tools and things we can do, and a common practice that we can apply to it. So, that's what I want to begin incorporating. And this whole thing is like, everything is connected. You can't just compartmentalize, one thing and expect all areas of your life to improve. Everything is connected, and you really got to see the whole picture. So I'll start putting in some more information and sharing you with what I've done, with this rebuilding process. But just consider, that topic of the echo chamber of narcissism, and begin to think about, okay, what do I want my life to look like? Imagine that, visualize that. And because it's your program, no one else will do this for you. That's a big thing in this. There's no one who's going to hold your hand and do everything. You have to do this yourself, and you have to do it at your own speed. And it's all going to evolve for you over time. And obviously there's groups and people that you can lean on for support and guidance. And I want to be, one of those people in your life. But this whole thing is your personalized program. So, think about it. Think about what you want your life to look like. That's exactly what I did. I thought about, I want to own my own business. So what did that look like? I thought I wanted to get married. I want to have children. I want to do all these things. And visualizing those and understanding them, understanding what it was going to take to get there is really what I focused on. And it happened. And it's still happening. More stuff is happening. So anyway, I hope this was valuable for you. I think it's a topic that that people need to be aware of. So anyway, I really appreciate watching. And I'm really excited. Thanks again.